Hello everybody. This is en route. It's getting rough out here, so I said I might as well dress up a little bit, right? You know? Got a collar, right? Here's the thing. There's many things that we can consider right now when it comes to the climate of our country, America, the USA, and the climate of the world. Yes, because we have a lot to do with how things transpire, right? You know, we're trendy. So the thing about that is I don't think that anybody on the Democratic Party has an intention of giving up the throne, essentially. And I think that we may not even have until November. I think we need to be prepared before the 4th of July, because I'll tell you why. The climate is just going to get harder, and the hotter it gets, the more expensive gas prices are going to be. And if you don't prepare now, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. There are a couple things I need you to think about. Right? And I'm going to talk to different monetary tiers, different financial areas, economic spots, okay? So I'm going to talk to people who have, no discretionary income, some discretionary income, and a lot of discretionary income. So here's the thing. If you are right at the bottom, you don't have a lot of money, like in general, you need to make it a priority, first things first, to buy yourself a cheap generator. Look at the Jackery line. They're pretty good. There's one that is like, there's a line that's around $200 to $500. If you can save up $200 to $500 right now, $500 being better because you can buy more power, I would highly recommend getting a power thing, okay? So that in the event of things, if you're in a bad spot, maybe if it's too dark, maybe, you're just in a weird situation, I highly recommend you having some some battery packs, something that can allow you to charge flashlights and, maybe just different things. Like your phones may not be viable at this point, but there'll be pictures, there'll be videos, there'll be notes and things that you might want to access as well, and you might want to take video and pictures of things that you see throughout your experiences, right? If things were to go awry, right? Have a backpack ready. This is for the low income level. Have a backpack ready with some food, some water for everybody in the household. Everybody in the household should have their own backpack full of food, water, a rechargeable battery pack that can recharge, something like a fan. You want a rechargeable fan, because the thing about it is that it gets hot in the summer, right? And dehydration is going to be one of the biggest things that people are going to get screwed over by. So having a water source, understanding that a lot of the pumps are not going to be working, and that working wells, need to be available. Having one of those life straws that can filter water to drink through is extremely important in case you have to run away from the area that you're in. Especially people who, live in the city where, you can be corralled like cattle a lot easier, right? And they can cut a lot of the main highway lines, blockade things, and you'll be trapped, right? So have a plan, have an escape route, understanding your geography and where you are, and what the authorities have, what their capabilities are, right? So we're gonna go to the median income level, okay? Let's say you have like $1,000 in discretionary income and that you don't necessarily live in the city, right? stacking food, water, life straws, extra battery packs to a higher capacity, solar panels, if you can get yourself solar panels, right? If you could start learning about electricity and things like that, obviously you want to have a backpack and stuff ready. Okay, everybody needs to have a backpack ready. It doesn't matter which economic tier you're in, any place can be affected, whether or not you're rich or poor, right? The likelihood of it happening in a more highly populated, dense area is higher, obviously, but just think, right? So, medium tier. If I was medium tier, I would get the most high efficiency, rechargeable, battery powered station that can be solar powered, charged, and you know, we obviously know food and all that stuff, right? I'd also have books handy, lots of different books handy, manuals handy if you can get some. You need your tools handy, like so many different things if you can actually just hunker down in your environment. Again, if you don't have like a crap ton of discretionary income, you know, you still need these things. You're just going to have to do it at a smaller capacity. When you have a higher discretionary income, you can do things at a higher capacity, right? So, you know, doing that, right? If you have a certain amount of money and you live in the city, but I would maybe try and plan a trip in a less populated area where you can, you know, turn on a barbecue and things like that. You know, we all need to be aware that like large events are going to be, you know, places where we're going to have to all keep an eye out. We're going to have to be very, very vigilant during this summer, during the 4th of July events. You know, we have to be careful, okay, and watch and be vigilant, because the thing is that this is an election year. It's not a normal year, and as we've seen before, things can get pretty hostile. I'd say, yeah, like, try your best to think about a vacation where you're not going to be necessarily trapped inside of a city, okay? Because if you're trapped inside, and the thing is that, you know, you obviously need to have access to well water and things like that, you know, and you know, be well connected with people. Your best bet is having high quality equipment, like super high quality flashlights, you know, a wrench, tool kits and things like that, in case you're in like a jam and you need to like fix something or whatever, or do something in order to make something happen, right? You know, I know they say that like in a grid down situation, like most things are not going to work, but older machinery could still work if you you know how to tinker with it. So if you know, have the ability to tinker with some things, not everything is going to get blown out. Some things will be protected, right? So trying to get things back up and running as fast as possible is a high priority, okay? We, you know, as Americans, we have to have, you know, the thought process of, you know, we can't freak out as much as we have to start like essentially doing damage control immediately so that we can make things run a little bit more smoother, right? And then we have to all kind of gather together. We're going to have to understand that there are going to be people that are going to feel threatened, that they're going to want to kill everybody or whatever. That's not going to be the most efficient way to go about things, okay? Anyways, I'm going to get to the higher tier level. If you have like around $5,000 to $10,000, which is still not a lot of money, I would highly recommend you buy a piece of property out in the middle of fucking nowhere. At least, you know, not in the most common area, right? A place where you could, at the very least, grab your grill, pitch a tent, bring your family, and y'all be safe, right? But let's say you have a little bit more, you can throw a nice little shed on there, you can do a bunch of stuff, right? You know, if you have $5,000 to $10,000 or more in discretionary income, I highly recommend you making yourself a safe house environment. Kind of, you can find a lot of properties that $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 that, you know, Yes, they're heavily wooded and you have to cut all the fucking trees down yourself, but it's still a safer place to pitch a tent. It's not as much of a target, you know, and it can keep people safe. And honestly, if I had a $10,000 just discretionary income right now, that's what I would do. Because at the end of the day, if something crazy happens, you do not want to be in the city at all, okay? You don't want to be in the city. So again, given the fact that the fight wasn't very well played fair before, we all have to recognize the pattern. Like, we've gotten, the government's kind of gone rogue, right? So it's imperative that we all understand that we need to have a plan, and we need to have it quickly, okay? And wouldn't it be such a blow to just do it around the 4th of July, right? I just don't feel like we have as much time as we think. I don't know if they'll even let us get to November. And if they do, wonderful. But I'd say get prepared now. Be ready now. Okay, take that step now, because here's the thing, even in November, when it's still going to get crazy in November, even then, at least you'll have all this stuff in place for when stuff really hits the fan. Because here's the thing. You guys already, if you cannot see that something pretty bad is brewing, man, that's going to be hard to catch you up. It's going to be real hard to catch you up. But this is just me, you know, trying to give you guys a heads up, because there's something brewing. Something is brewing, and I really want you to take heed to this message and start preparing now, okay? All right, you need books, you need flashlights, you need, you know, hunting stuff. You need to get prepared, America. It is so important, okay? I for God, hope's sakes, that we have until November, but dude, I don't really know. Also, propane tanks, extremely important. If you are in the medium to higher income part, get some propane tanks. Propane tanks are going to literally save your life. If you can get a small propane tank when in the lower median area, having a propane tank and a torch is very positive. Lighters, matches, all the good stuff, right? You want to be able to light stuff, right? Having one of those like portable mini stoves that you can kind of like put a pot on and, you know, throw some wood in or something like that, right? There's just a lot of like little nifty little things that you could make sure that you have on deck. But if you can hunker down, propane tanks are super, super, super important. Propane stoves, super important, okay? Yeah, and, you know, seeds, and any tier, seeds. Everybody needs to be gathering seeds. Also, having like a jar of ghee, some kind of cooking oil, something like that, coconut oil, olive oil, having some oil handy, that would be really good too, just for nutritional purposes, things like that. Whatever you can obtain and make, if you can make a cheap meal in a jar and have it sealed without refrigeration, that's really important as well. There's just so many different things, right? Obviously, weapons. Obviously, protection should be a given with what kind of country we're in. Everybody should own a firearm. It's very important. Everybody should own a firearm. And, you know, there's just, you know, so many things to think about. But we need to be ready for anything, really, you know? So it is so important, okay? I for God, hope's sakes, that we have until November, but dude, I don't really know what's going on. But try to find Kate Middleton. She hasn't been seen in the public eye for a very long time. Things are getting real funny, and a lot of things are being hidden from the public. And I just think that people need to understand that war is ugly, and war doesn't always look like what you think. And so, you know, understanding that we're also, you know, a ton of our resources are being put into wars across the world, and here over at the border, bringing refugees in. You need to understand that there's this the country's being sabotaged, and if you can't see that, you're gonna be left with your pants down. Another thing is that I highly recommend that you get yourself some silver, some gold, some coins, if you have the discretionary income to do so. And so, okay, that medium ground, we're gonna go back to the medium ground. I know when you're here, you barely have your resources, you don't even have a generator. You're not gonna be able to think too much about silver, but if you're here and you can get all those things easy and you have extra, you need to get some silver and gold. Silver and gold. You need to get silver and gold, okay? No matter what, you need to get your hands on some silver and gold, okay? It's it's important to have some physical money on you, especially war. You don't know what the dollar is gonna do. You don't know if it's gonna go up. You don't know if it's gonna go down. You don't know, what's gonna happen. And so I find it extremely important, okay, for people to get some silver, some gold. There's also this metal called indium. You can even get some of that, and it can be very useful during everything. I even got myself a silver bangle. Get yourself, you can get different sizes too, so that you don't like just give so much money right at once. So there's like different sizes. These are silver coins, and there's just different ouncing, and these are silver as well. These are old silver dimes. Yeah, and you can get some of these. They're a little overpriced, but you can get some of these. I was going to show you the indium. Where is that? Here. And so this is indium. This is like something that, is very important in electrical and welding and all this different stuff. And like just having this mineral could be very useful in certain situations. So, and people would definitely buy this off of you. So if indium, it's pretty cheap, much more cheaper than silver if you want to get your hands on some kind of precious metal, right? It's a very soft metal. And of course, you can get like a big silver, right? And then I even found these cool, like really tiny pieces of silver that are pretty fractional. Pretty cool. So yeah, there's different things, different ways that you can get. And then even if you wanted to get into smelting your own coins, if you could get your hands on enough gold or silver, you could. Here's a little bit of gold that I can melt down later on if I need to. It's not that much, but every little bit counts, and that's like getting it over a few years for me. But some people can buy a whole freaking brick, right, of gold. So if you have that money, get some gold, get some silver, get a property that's out of the way, that no one cares about, no one thinks about. You know what I'm saying? So it's hold on. It potentially could get pretty bad. And while we all want to, look on the bright side of things, with inflation, with like how expensive it is to just do everything, and how much more expensive it is just in the past few years, it's that's not even just it. You know, like, our country is participating in so many odd things that don't make any sense, you know? So be prepared. Don't get left with your pants down. If you trust the government, well, bless your heart. So have a good one.